Hello folks, I'm PK and I'm back here to talk about 2018 World Cup. We reached the semifinals and the first match is being played between France and Belgium. It's a francophone battle, a real francophone battle considering that both countries speak French. Of course, the Belgians also speak Flamand, which is a form of Dutch language there. But we've seen this match with the French team has sort of like a African squad with players like Kante, Matuidi, Mbappe, Pogba, and on the other side we have this golden generation from the Belge that presented players like Lukaku, Hazard, De Bruyne, etc. Amazing players for the Belge, which is not like very common for Belge to portray such a strong teams. They did play in 2014 and they're back in 2018 with this amazing trio of players. So the match started, and we've seen like right from the beginning, the Belge had the upper hand the first 20 minutes with Hazard making a fantastic play, controlling the ball with De Bruyne, always trying to find Lukaku. The French kind of handle the pressure very well, and after 20 minutes, they have a very strong midfield again. They start controlling the game a little better. The Belgian team came back with a little different way of playing soccer, with three guys playing in defensive midfielder with Fellaini, Dembele, and Witsel. Dembele did not play well. It was not a good match for him. He just could not control Griezmann and Mbappe, and the French start controlling the match. And the first half finished 0-0, I would say, in a good way for the Belgians because the French had the upper hand and they missed a few opportunities. Giroud was not in a good day in that match. They came back for the second half, and the French added the pressure, and then a corner kick taken by Griezmann. Umtiti, was kind of the least expected player. He did not make a good World Cup. He was not playing well. He climbed up there and he added the ball to give the French the initial advantage in the game with 1-0. The Belgian team still could not find their way in the match, and the French continued playing better. Giroud missed many opportunities to score the goal, and then they try to change things around. They put Mertens on the field, and then they put Carrasco on the field, and then the Belgians start adopting its initial way of playing soccer and start putting a little bit of pressure, controlling the game, especially after 30 minutes, and you've seen like Hazard really striving to score a goal for the equalizer, but the French supported well the pressure, and the match ended up 1-0 for France that will play the final. And it's kind of interesting. France, since 1998, they played the first final and they beat Brazil in that match 3-0. Then they played against Italy. They lost to 2006. So they have been very successful, especially in the European Cups as well. And now they got to another final. It's one of the most developing soccer nations in the world. And we got to say that this happened because they started using more and more African players that are originated from Africa. On the other hand, Croatia played England, and in this match, we gotta say that both teams kind of were going through very different momentums. Like the Croatians started the cup really well. They destroyed Argentina. They beat Nigeria, which was one of the favorites to win the group, and also they beat Iceland, which was like the kind of a ghost team of the World Cup, and advanced with three amazing victories. Then, when they got to the Sweet 16, they had to play against Denmark, who's a very lucky team, who kind of survived the group phase, and tough battle. They ended up like going to the penalty kicks after an hour and 20 minutes, like 120 minutes of soccer, of tough battle, 2 hours of soccer, and they succeeded. And then they played the next match against the Russians, the host of the World Cup, and once again a draw 2-2, and they got to the penalty kicks and they survived. So after two very tough matches, the Croatians were devastated, they were very tired, and they came up to this match against England this way, like they survived the first two battles. On the other hand, England, they did not start the cup well. Now the first match against Tunisia, they beat Tunisians by 2-1 in the very last minute. Then they play a Panamanian team that was just very weak. It was just not any challenge, did not present any challenge to them. They scored lots of goals at 6-1. And then they play the final match against the group against Belgium. Belgium used the bench, used the reserves, and they also used their reserves. And the match was kind of a boring game that the Belgians beat the English by 1-0. The match did not mean anything because both teams were already qualified. They actually wanted to fall in this part of the draw, which was a lot easier. The other part of the draw had France, Brazil, Belgium, Uruguay, Argentina, etc. Well, here we just had Spain. Well, England was able to to win their first match through penalty kicks against Colombia. Did not have the best player, James Rodriguez. They survived with the penalty kicks. And the second match, they played their best match, showing that there was an evolution in the English team. They beat Sweden by 2-0, actually sort of like a easy way for the British, and they qualified. They reached the semifinal against Croatia, and they took advantage. You could see like right away from the beginning that the British had the upper hand. The Croatians seemed very tired, and they scored the first goal after a foul. Trippier gave the English, taking a brilliant foul, giving the British the advantage of 1-0 in the match. They continue adding pressure against a very tired squad of the Croatians. And in the first half, like with Sterling, was infernal through the Croatian defense. They could have scored more goals. Kane did not show much. He was kind of an absent in that match. And the first half ended 1-0 with a partial victory for the British. They came back, and then everything changed for the second half. The Croatians started playing better. Modric and Rakitic just controlled the midfielder, and the British did not create anything. Sterling kind of stopped playing. Kane did not show up for the occasion. And they start controlling the game better and better. Perisic and Versalic, amazing match by these two players. It's kind of interesting because Versalic almost did not play. He was hurting. He had an injury, but he came back, and in the last minute he was placed there to play in the field. And what a match this guy made. Maybe the best player on the field along with Perisic, and they start putting a lot of pressure, like making the British defense work very hard, and Pickford as well. And finally, Perisic scored a goal, arriving at the draw, a 1-1 at minute 68. And the Croatians continue adding pressure against the British. They just surrender the match and just try to defend themselves, like trying to see if they could get to the overtime. The match ended up, and again, the Croatians had the upper hand and played better on the first half of the overtime, came back for the second half. And then Mandzukic, in a play that nobody really thought that nothing was going to happen, he scored a second goal for the Croatians. Mandzukic also played really well, giving a lot of hard work for the trio that played back there, the English team. And with a 2-1 partial victory, the English team did not create much, and the Croatians were able to win the match and arrive at the first time to the final, kind of a historical moment. They will play France on the final. So for the third and fourth place, England will play Belgium. And we gotta say, Belgium has a lot more at stake. This is a generation, they depend a lot on generations, and this is a really brilliant generation they have. They have never gotten to the third place. England have actually won in 1966. So to get a third place for them is not a novelty. I think for the Belgians has more at stake, and I think this is gonna be the trend for the match. And they also have a better team than England. They play a much tougher draw on the other side, and they reach the semifinals, and I think they'll probably have the upper hand against the English. I'll go to Belgium. And for the other match, France and Croatia, like I said, the fact that the Croatians play 3 matches of 120 minutes, that's going to be a big factor. France had easier matches on the other side, and they seem to be a stronger team overall in the whole thing. So I think France has great chances. However, we must not neglect the heart of this Croatian team that has done an amazing World Cup, and they can maybe upset the French. So it's going to be a very interesting battle. I know most people are going to go for the underdog for Croatia, but I think France has a slight advantage on this match. So these are my commentaries for today. I'll come back after the finals to talk about it. I'll see you next time.